Do I look like Robert Niro?
Um,
Yeah. Yes.
a little bit, a
You do.
little bit. That was pretty good. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Rake Position. I am your host, and we are. Oh, I'm Aaron, by the way. We are down one person. Hopefully, Corey's able to join us later. They got some sickness around the family, so we're
Something
down to
else
a
saving the
three-man
world.
crew. Yeah. Oh, shh.
Oh, my bad.
Blew a secret identity. So we're down to a three-man crew, but let's see who else we have with us this week.
I'm Joe the groundskeeper. Speaking of threes, I had this on my mind to let you know my three favorite inventions. Electricity ketchup and then nasal spray. Top three. So listeners, what are your top three inventions?
In that order,
Yes.
really, electricity over ketchup.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's why I thought it was fake for a minute because I'm like, I think ketchup's number one, but anyway, I'll
It's
guess I can't.
close, but
Yeah. All right. I'm Jay Lee the Rover.
All righty, guys. Well, we are 1 week away from spring training. Pitchers and catchers start reporting for a lot of
heyo.
teams next Wednesday, and then they'll start filtering in for everybody else as next week goes along. And so a lot of news has happened already, but we're still waiting on a few names to drop. So we're going to talk about them a little bit later on. Some other news items have happened. We're going to highlight, and then we're going to revisit a couple predictions because, if you've been following along for the last 42 episodes, we are phenomenal at predicting things like who's going to
Crazy.
win, who's going to
Mhm.
sign who, how much money they're going to get. I mean, we're batting like almost 1,000 as a team. So
Yeah,
we
it's
got a
pretty
couple that
ridiculous.
that we may have missed that we're going to revisit now that the spring training's about to start. And then we've got everybody's favorite segment is back for the first
It's been
time
a
in
minute. Yeah,
2024. So gonna be a
I'm
fun,
excited for it.
sweet, quick episode. Hopefully the stat man pops in here at some point.
Come
We're
on,
hoping
Corey.
he makes it. But until then, Jared's gonna kick us off with a couple news items.
Yeah, I got you guys. I just want to say I am excited though. Appreciate reinstate. Usually Joe gives us a little snippet of what it's going to be in the text there, but this time there's nothing. So it is a
Which is
secret for,
scary.
yes, also scary, but I'm excited for it. Anyway, let's get to some breaking
Jared, I
news.
got a question for you before you go to this. This has got me thinking. What's
Uh-oh.
scarier to you, Joseph's text messages or Joseph's silence?
Ooh,
What's scarier?
that is great because I would say it's the in between, right? It's the in between of like him typing the message, so the silence, but then you get the message, you're like, that might be worse than him not saying anything.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know. Maybe
Fair
it's a
enough.
50-50, but anyway, appreciate you, Joe. Um, yeah, let's get into some groundbreaking news. And then, I mean, I'm talking like huge monster deals. We're talking like the people finally that we wanted to sign finally signed, and we're talking about
It's my drum roll.
Gary Sanchez. And where is he going? Oh, someone that probably needs a catcher. Wrong. The Brewers. He's going to the Brewers, guys. 7 mil. Looks like there's a mutual option for the following year, and then 7 mil guaranteed across that deal. Now, Aaron texted us some stats of the Contreras brothers. And so I think that's what's mind-boggling is we're seeing the Brewers just deplete all their pitching and then signing some hitters. So we're kind of curious what's going on in the great city of Milwaukee, but honestly, who cares? I hope the Brewers finish last. Anyway, thoughts on that one, guys, before I keep it rolling here?
I know Joe's got a lot.
I mean, I feel like this falls in with 90% of the other signings of the last month. It's maybe a one WAR player. He's replacement level. He's average.
Two and a
Um,
half.
hits
Yeah,
a
give him the
dinger
half,
every
dude.
hits a dinger every now and then. Um, I don't think he can do much else. But looking at, I don't think it was an actual Brewers message board, but just scrolling through some of the stuff, and we talked about this a little bit before the pod. You know, they get rid of Corbin Burns and then kind of make moves like all these small market teams make. They ride their ace until they feel like they can't sign him. They get rid of him, and then You try to scrape together an 81 win season. So pretty disheartening for Brewers fans, but um, this signing is pretty pretty low interest to myself. I don't think he's going to do anything that's going to
Yeah,
push
we
him over
were
the
trying
hump.
to add some stuff to the news. Gary Sanchez, it's interesting because he's still a big name because of how hyped he was, because he was a Yankee prospect. That's why. And he hit a lot of homers as a rookie and then forgot how to hit apparently for a while. But the interesting thing was when he moved around a couple different teams last year, waiver claims and whatnot, but then finally stuck in San Diego and became Snell's personal catcher. Um, which I saw the stats. I don't have it with me, but Snell used him the whole second half, and we all know what happened to Snell. And Gary doesn't have a very good defensive reputation, but yeah, they've got Contreras already there. So I think this is just, you're right, a small market team trying to keep the fans happy, keep the floor from caving in, but this adds nothing to the ceiling. They're falling fast to the bottom of the division if they're not careful. Cardinals
Yeah.
should be better with their veteran lineup, and then the Cubs, Pirates, and Reds are all pumping in the young guys over the last couple of years and got more coming. So yeah, kind of sad for the Brewers. They had this great 5-6 year run with Council. Um, they went all in and brought Yelich over. They had this trio of awesome pitchers, and now it's just all gone. So it's and
Mhm.
even their GM is in New York now, David Stearns.
Yeah.
So sorry, Brew
Yeah.
Crew. Maybe 10 years from now.
Maybe. Hard maybe. I know we always talk about making this a short pod, but we talk and then my brain just starts going.
Exactly.
What what is your like? Can you guys think of like the most famous, like you mentioned his personal catcher? Can you think of a duo that you're like that guy always like the most famous pitcher to have like his personal catcher? Anybody come to mind?
Mhm. Yeah, right away. Greg Maddux always did it. So he had Charlie O'Brien early, but then it was Eddie Perez, and it was 1999. Eddie Perez, if you look at his stats, backup catcher, he's still the Braves organization. He's beloved by everybody. He's a part-time coach, part-time assistant in the GM office. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing, but not known for anything on the field really. But him and Greg Maddux just had this every fifth day. Hoffy got the day off, and Eddie Perez was going to catch Maddux. And he actually ended up, Lopez got hurt going to the 99 playoffs. And so Perez actually got MVP the 1999 NLCS. And that was like, he did more hitting in those 5 games than he did for 10 years as the Brave. But yeah, it was always fun. And I think part of it was Maddox is giving Lopez a day off. And when Maddox was on the mound, you didn't need a whole lot of offense. So they could get by with using the
It's
backup
true.
catcher when Maddox was thrown. But definitely Eddie Perez and Charlie O'Brien.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes to mind for me is the obvious of is Wainwright and Wayno, who I think Wainwright and
Not
Yachty, who
himself, man.
he's fast,
Wainwright, throw it to Wainwright.
who I think have the record, right? And then didn't Wakefield have a personal catcher?
Oh, yeah.
I think he had to though.
Doug
Yeah,
Marabelli was the famous one when uh,
like
Boston had
Veritek couldn't even
Wakefield.
catch it, right?
Yeah, Boston had Wakefield and Marabelli. Marabelli wasn't much of a threat, so that I think Marabelli went to like the Pirates or something in the offseason, and then everybody's had a horrible time trying to catch Wakefield. And there's a famous day when the Red Sox reacquired Marabelli and had like a police escort from the airport to Fenway to make sure he got there in time to start for Wakefield when they reacquired him. So yeah, that's always a
Mm-hmm.
classic one. Did
Mm-hmm.
Yachty start as a personal catcher? Like I know Matheny was there. Matheny was known for his defense too as well. Um, or is it just a matter of that Yachty and Wayne were just there for so long?
I want to say the
Yeah,
latter of the two. That's what
yeah.
that's
I
what it
don't
feels like.
remember it ever being a must type of thing. It's just he caught 150 games and
Mm-hmm.
the longevity of it.
Yeah, we're not going to see anybody do that. We've been talking, Mauer getting the Hall of Fame. Posey's coming up next. Yachty's right behind him. And was it Yachty has caught more than those two guys combined?
Mhm.
Like you're just not gonna see another catcher catch that many games. So it was very impressive for what Yachty did for sure.
Beast, first ballot Hall of Famer, but we'll talk about that at a different time.
Couple years.
Moving on here. I think this is news that we were expecting, but it seems like it's finally finalized, and maybe they had some details to iron out. But maybe one of the greatest pitchers in our generation, Kershaw, coming back to the Dodgers on a 2-year deal. The second year is a player option for the chance to pitch with Shohei on the year that he's coming back. So even this year, it did say Kershaw is going to miss the beginning of the season, which he still looks like he's still nursing some of that injuries. And same with I know Bueller is going to be missing a good chunk of the beginning of the season too.
Bueller.
Miller.
But man, like Yamamoto, I mean, what Dustin May's still there. That pitching staff
Yeah,
can,
May's coming back from injury too. He's had some injury
yeah.
battles last couple of years.
James Paxton, that Bobby Miller, like that rotation can be pretty deadly once they get everybody back to full strength. And I mean, like I said, Kershaw had a pretty good year last year too, coming back
Mhm.
from a couple injuries and all that fun stuff. So I don't know. I'm excited to see him, I think, stay with the Dodgers as much as I don't like the Dodgers. He's been with them his whole career, so it's kind of cool to see players stick around with that. Um, and yeah, coming back to LA. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, it seemed like it was always LA or maybe go to Texas, close to his home. I guess he's close. I saw the Rangers and a lot of rumors. Um, has there been any talk about how often Yamamoto plans to pitch? Is he a 5-day guy or 6-day guy? Has anybody said anything?
I haven't seen anything. I assumed
Not
5 day,
that
but
Yeah,
they could go 6 if they wanted to save some people.
because I would assume Bueller is they're going to look for days off for Bueller, days off for May, and then Miller and what Sheehan? What was the other rookie? They got another rookie.
Tony.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Gosselin's
Gonsolin's
still
still
there.
there. Was he hurt last year too? And Glass now's always hurt. Like Paxton's always hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a 6-man rotation for most of the year and try to keep these guys healthy, and then sneak Kershaw in their second half when he's back. And even when he's there, keep going 6-man. Keep so you have 4 healthy guys for the playoffs. Because there's a lot of potential, a lot of filthy stuff, and a lot of doctor's bills in that rotation. But
A lot of
it's the
insurance
Dodgers.
claims.
Yeah, that's true. And what was the option price? 'Cause it's a player option. I hadn't heard that. I knew he had an
And
option, but
And see, I didn't see any details as far as like money released yet.
yeah,
I
I hadn't
just saw
either.
I
and I
don't
just
think
looked
they.
recently.
I don't think
Yeah, go
they
ahead.
put any money out yet. No. I know when I first heard that they signed him, thought it was a 1 year, but then I seen that it's a player option, right?
Hmm.
As far as I know, he doesn't have to hit anything for that player option to
Yeah, player option is
kind of the
player gets
point
to
of a player
choose.
option, right?
Yeah, vesting is the ones where you have to hit certain requirements, and then you got club
So,
or mutual.
I mean, you got to think it's at least 15 million, right? I mean, even diminished last year, he was still amazing. Go look at
Yeah,
his stats.
yeah,
Um,
I
so
mean,
I, I, I
he made 23 mil last year. So I don't know if it'll be lower, about the same.
I
It'll
mean,
be all
Lance
deferred anyway.
Lynn, Luis Severino, these guys with 6, 7 ERAs are getting 12 to 15 million. So if
right.
Kershaw, if you expect him 15 starts from Kershaw, he's getting 1 million a start.
And I
Like,
and you're probably expecting what, maybe 20 starts, so I don't think it'll be a whole lot more than that, but
yeah.
he should. I mean, it's LA. They'll probably just give him a check and say, write whatever you want. I think it's what everybody thought. Maybe it took a little longer for it to happen. Maybe he's wanted to make sure the shoulder would pass a physical before he did anything, but he's probably gonna be a Dodger for life.
I mean, I hope so. Like I said, he's one of those guys that you see and you hope he's been with one team and be weird to see him on a different team.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we'll
We
see.
got a couple of those guys right here for the next segment. Segue
Whoa, man, look at us. That would like if we had like a
professionals.
transition, if we had like a transitional slide, that would have been cool there. We'll work on that. Corey, work on that for us.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna jump to the latter of the two real quick though, because I don't want to talk about him too much because he's a Houston Astro. If you guys don't mind, I'm just gonna say it and move on. Altuve seems like he's gonna be retiring a Houston Astro with a 5-year, 125 mil contract. Um, I think we could kind of see this coming. I think there's rumors too of them trying to look at Bregman to keep too. I saw that when looking at the details of this contract. So it seems like they're trying to keep the players that have helped them get over the hump through the cheating days that they did. Had to throw that in there real quick. But
Fair enough.
anything else, guys, on Altuve?
We won't see too many guys do their whole careers with one team, so that's nice. The way the team did a good job of getting it structured, nice, because it's like 30-30 and then drops down to like 20 and then 10 in year 5. So
Right.
they won't be overpaying him too much if he does
He's not.
decline.
Yeah.
But then they've got Alvarez and Tucker where their prices are going to start skyrocketing when Altuve's is going down. So it's nice. Nice deal for the team.
You know, he's never him and that team are never going to live down that black mark or spot or whatever you want to say. The images of him clutching and like shaking his head, and I mean it's so obvious, but it's also obvious that he's as good now as he's ever been. His numbers are as good now that as they've ever been. Um, and when I many of my creative players in the past have been small second basemen because that's what I've done. So
Realistic.
we talked about video games last episode, and um, a lot of the times I'd play with a buddy and we'd do one created player, and I'd create a guy, and he'd be a small second baseman. Of course, I'd make him like jacked and hitting homers, but um, so from a fellow, I mean, he's 5'6", 166 is what his player card says, which
Ain't no way.
is amazingly smaller than myself. But coming from a fellow small second baseman, I'm not cheering for him because of what happened was ridiculous. But it's nice to, you get the visual of when he's standing next to other guys, and you're like, hey, small guys can do it. Baseball's the one sport where your size doesn't mean everything. So good for him, making money.
Yeah. I think that's why I harp on it so much. I think you made a good point of before all this. I mean, he was just a dominant player, and they go through this scandal, and it just, like I said, puts a mark on it when it doesn't need to. Like
Thumbs
I
up
said, he was hey,
Altuve.
thumbs up
That's about
Altuve.
to
Uh, he was dominant before all this, and I think
it.
that's what's frustrating to me is we didn't have to do this, and you could have been like now you're going to be like you said, regardless of what happens in his career, they're always going to be like, yeah, but he cheated that one year, and it's I don't know, it's really frustrating.
Because the
I want
Astros are doing stuff now. The Astros, Dodgers, and the Braves have recently joined that conversation. But like those franchises are doing stuff like what the Yankees did in the 2000s and what the Braves did in the 90s of like just sheer dominance over a long period of time. Like it's just hard to do. The Cardinals did it for 20 years and had one hiccup last year, So it's just like, but you don't think about the Astros in the same way of those teams
Right.
because of this. And it's just kind of sad because, I mean, they're still doing it. They're still
Yeah.
Do you
top
think
5 favorite
that,
teams every year.
do you think I'm sure this has been talked about, but I just thought of it, with um I also have some show and tell here now that I think about it. We just got done with Hall of Fame talk. There was two, three, four guys that were like, "Oh, he's a Reuter, he can't get in." Hold that thought.
Oh boy.
It's going to get his steroids.
Yeah, go to get your steroid.
No, no. But I do have a Gary Sheffield
Nice.
starting lineup figurine that I
Okay,
randomly
that's
That's a
found
cool.
beaut.
from his time on the Padres. So anyway, what
Shortstop Gary Sheffield.
do you think, you know, Altuve's numbers are gonna warrant first ballot Hall of Famer? Do you think he doesn't make it because of scandal?
Man. I think if they're being so tough on the steroid people, I think they're going to be just as tough on these guys too. Personally, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe a different. By the time that he goes in, maybe it's a different type of voter. But I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know.
talking 10 years from now. If he's got 5 more years to play and then 5 years to wait to be eligible. So we're talking 10 years from now. At that point, the scandal's 15 years old. I don't know. Could be, yeah. I don't know. Because, like,
The internet makes it live forever.
yeah, that's exactly true. And there are people with other scandals that have been, that's the thing. Like, other scandals have been, they're just banned. And that's what makes this frustrating is the players weren't punished one bit. The coaches weren't punished one bit. The people that were punished, AJ Hinch got fired, year later got hired. Beltran got fired, year later got hired. Cora got fired, year later got hired. And the owner lost $5 million. It's like, what a joke. That's what's more frustrating is that nobody was held accountable for it. MLB just like, whatever. We have to do something because people knew it happened, but we don't want to. So
Right.
that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I
It's a good
mean,
question.
statistically, what? If he does what he does every year, he's a top 5 second baseman all time.
Easily. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, and that power
Yeah.
speed combo. That's crazy. That's a good thought. It'll be interesting.
Just sucks, man.
But I mean,
So frustrating.
we were in Kansas City and the Houston Astros were there, and there's what, maybe 20,000 fans in
Maybe.
Kansas City,
Maybe.
and
Yeah.
they booed Altuve like crazy. Like
And I was
ALT.
part of it. Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
booed out too.
Well, yeah, we did too. Yeah, why not? But like AL fan bases will not let it go. And that's Kansas City. They had no dog in the fight that year. It wasn't like Houston's cheating kept Kansas City from the World Series. Uh, but yeah, it's a big mark on his back.
Yeah. And look at this, another segue. Speaking of Kansas City, I'm gonna go ahead
My
and say it
boy.
because
Joe's favorite player.
right because because Aaron said it when the news dropped for this. This deal proves you can spend whatever you want as an MLB franchise. It does not matter if your owner tells you, "Oh, we ain't got the payroll." They're lying to you, teams, fans, whatever. They're lying to you because we got Bobby Witt Jr. Let's preface this. Bobby Witt's
Mhm.
not getting a deal. He's
According
done.
to Wikipedia, the second one came after the first one. So,
Oh, good. We need to
yeah.
know that because that
Yeah.
that was could have been confusing for some of you out there. But this dude just signed. Well, let's break it down. An 11-year deal for $288 million on the potential to be a 14, $377 million. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you look at like the top contracts, like this puts Witt up there
Mm-hmm.
as like for that long of a deal in the span, which is pretty awesome. I know Joe would never trade for this ball player. That's what we found out when we were in Kansas City. Uh, but what I'll tell you, like the highlight of that trip was watching Bobby Witt play.
Dude,
Like
he's fun. I'm glad we got to see
he's
that, man.
yeah, he's
He didn't
really
even do
really
anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think we
Three
no he hit a
319
homer. He
OBP.
hit a homer that
Nice.
game in
oh,
one of
we
the
did see
games
a homer. Yeah, that's right.
because
That's right.
we were close to seeing him get his 30-30 season. He was
Mm-hmm.
29 homers and 30 steals at the time.
That's right. That's right.
But no, just a fun, exciting young player. I love the commitment that he's given back to KC, but then also that KC's given to him. And I think the other commitment is all the deals that they've done this offseason to kind of help maybe
Mm-hmm.
make Witt think that, hey, oh, we're going to be doing something, you know? So I love it. I think it's good for baseball. It keeps a marquee player like him in a small market for a long time. One, to build around, but two, to hopefully see the Royals get back to what, you know, I think it's almost 10 years from the third World Series win. So kind of
Yeah,
cool to see what they
wow,
can
it
do.
is. What,
Yeah.
16,
Mm-hmm.
15, something like that?
Yep. Joe, since he's your favorite player, I'm going to kick it to you on your thoughts about this.
Well, the conversation in Kansas City definitely spiraled out of control.
Oh, that's exactly how it went, Jared. You're 100% correct.
I'll just say one more time, he had an OBP of 319. So I mean, Did
23. Go ahead. Sorry.
um they've watched him come up through the farm. Obviously, they have a lot of faith that his trajectory is still on the way up. Um, I think your stolen bases are going to continue to get outrageous with the rule changes, so that's not super awesome for me. I mean, I think he has to get better to warrant this deal, but all indicators are that he will get better. He raked AAA. He had a decent rookie year. He had a really good year last year. He's young. Um, yeah, I think he's really good. I don't know if I'd call him great yet. Due to mathematical statistical facts.
Now I
But
know
other
that
than that,
your famous saying, there's no such thing, there's not a bad deal. There's a 1 year deal. What about if it's 14 years?
when you're a franchise like Kansas City, yeah, that can handicap you for about 2 decades. So they better hope he doesn't get hurt or start sucking.
I'm trying to find what year Kansas City's new stadium is supposed to open. They've got it in place to move the stadium, which we've talked about this when close whatever pod it was after we got back from the trip. The stadium's fine, nothing special, but there's absolutely nothing around it. The
Except for Arrowhead.
hotel, yeah, except for Arrowhead, the hotels were sparse. There was no good place to eat. There's nothing for
Did
fans to
we
do. We went to that random barbecue
barbecue?
joint and it was bad. And Jared warned us, hey, Jared's like, guys, we went to this one place one time and it wasn't good. And then we're like, let's go to this restaurant. Okay. We walk in, he goes, yep, this is that place. We're like, well, this is the only place
Yep.
that's even close to the
Like
stadium.
you couldn't even you had to yell your order from the back of the line. They didn't even wait till you got up. They're just like, hey, yell
Yeah.
your order at us.
And then they got,
And
and
then
then
Oh
if
all
you
my
like,
gosh.
it was all a disaster.
and if you did know your order, they just skipped you.
Yeah, they was the next person. It's like, wait
They're
a
like, all
minute.
right, you don't know what you want, get out of here.
I'm 13th in line. Take my order right now.
Yeah. Oh
Don't
man, the
even let me
locals.
read that menu. How dare you let me read that menu?
The menu that made no sense.
0 cents. So whatever that place was, sorry, but don't go there, guys. But that just shows you like there's nothing around it. And so obviously Witt is supposed to end up being one of the best shortstops of this generation. He's a very good shortstop right now already. A lot of my family is from Missouri, and they're all Kansas City Royals fans. They're ecstatic. The fan base is loving this. Just the idea that it shows the commitment to keep a star player around when every other small market is sitting these guys out before they get expensive. So I think it's going to help. One, that coupled with the new stadium is going to create buzz. And I was trying to find what year and where it's located. One of my buddies in OOTP, who's Kansas City fan, said that it's going to be kind of downtown, kind of in the area next to the Negro League Museum, closer to that stuff, which was a cool area of town. So if that's all within like walking distance or a quick Uber drive from a new stadium, that's already a huge win because that part of town was a lot better than where Kaufman is. And two, I think you're going to start seeing free agents be more willing to go there. It's too late for this off season, but if you're wanting a long term commitment as a free agent, hey, they just locked up Bobby Witt. I know I'm going to play with him for 5-6 years. Let's do it. So,
And it looks
I
like, did you, sorry, I almost said that I blacked out and blackout, but
browned out.
yes. Um, did you say when that stadium was going to be built? Did you mention
no,
the year?
I'm trying to find it.
'Cause I'm looking at his contract here. It looks like the way that it's set up, it kind of resembles when that potential money for that stadium would be coming in because it's
Yeah, he's
pretty
only
cheap in the beginning.
23.
Yeah.
So he'll be 24 when this takes over. So if he does the full 14 years, he'll be 38. So, I mean, that's
So
not horrendous.
he doesn't
Um,
hit it doesn't hit 30 mil until he's 28. So they got another four to 5 years
Yeah,
of paying him
so
pretty
he's
decent.
going to make the league minimum. I'm sure there's a signing bonus to try to give him some extra money now. He'll make the league minimum this year, and then Baseball Reference doesn't have the new contract on here yet. But yeah, you don't need to pay him free agent money for another 3 years. So that contract's got some time to kick in. So, I mean, they announced the stadium last year, so I would assume, within 5 years of the announcement, they would have it built. But I
But
can't
then,
find the
and
date.
I don't know if you saw this too, he can actually opt out after year 7. So really, he can hit free agency again if he wants when he's 30, 31.
Yeah. And the 4 year or the 3 years on the end, they're all player options.
Hmm.
So it's all in his control, which is nice. If the team changes course and decides not to win, he can get out and still get paid again, which is nice. But
You got to think a lot of young players and agents are like licking their chops seeing this deal because, of course, coming back to the Cardinals, I don't know why Jordan Walker couldn't put up here it goes for Corey's brother or Jared's brother, whatever. I don't know why he couldn't put up a 276, 319, 495, 813 year. And
mhm.
granted, he's probably playing worse defense
You
with
just
less
confused
speed.
Ben so bad.
But, it'd be his second year, it'd be his age 23 season. It's like, that's your basement, right? Hey, you better come
Right.
to the table with a minimum of this. So yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that's a good point. I almost think it's kind of incentives for these younger players too to work out harder and want to prove themselves sooner to get these deals. I think you're seeing it more and more, but it's also incentive for the clubs to want to give you these big deals too, because it kind of gives them some flexibility to buy out your arbitration years to maybe save some money. I mean, I know there's a
Mhm.
risk. There's always going to be a risk in any contract outside of Joe's 1 year deals.
Right.
Um, so I think there's incentive for both player and team to be looking at both of these deals, these big
And
deals. I mean, look at
the
the Braves; they're paying off from all of these monster deals, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know, pretty
and
cool.
people want to go there because the core is locked up, so it's easier to get more people to come or sign. I mean, like the Tiger, we're talking about this proves that small market clubs have money to spend if they want to. The Tigers just signed, their top AAA guy to a 6 year, $30 million deal, and dude hasn't even played MLB ball yet, and
Right.
they're expecting him to be starting second baseman or starting third baseman this year. So like, there are there are ways to lock up core young players and be competitive in a small market. So it just brings the whole Oakland situation into more sad light that the owner is not even trying.
Yep.
So that's interesting. But yeah, excited for Kansas City, excited for my family. They're excited for it. So he's fun to watch. They got a nice position player core. And then this offseason, like Jared mentioned, they brought in some veteran pitchers on short term deals. And that division is so winnable. um, the Twins won by default last year because they're the only team that didn't sell. So it's 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 winnable.
It's
So hey, if
winnable,
those if
and I
those
think,
guys stay healthy, was it Waka
yeah.
and Lugo? Is that who they signed?
Hmm.
And if they stay healthy, they get to 500, and that's close enough to make some noise in that division.
sorry,
It
Kansas
is.
City, you're gonna suck again.
And
Okay,
still win the Central.
there it is.
But they still got Cleveland there.
Who has already sold players. All right, so that brings us back. We're still waiting for the two biggest names to drop in free agency. The top hitter, who's Cy Young winner, Blake Snell, doesn't know where he's going to be pitching next week when pitchers report to camp. And then Cody Bellinger. Now, we've talked all offseason, even before the offseason started, both of these guys, even though they were viewed as the top at their position, both of them have some major red flags. Snell obviously has a hard time throwing strikes. Has been all over the place, but then has also won two Cy Youngs. Bellinger, Rookie of the Year, MVP, blows his shoulder out, is absolutely horrible for 2 years. Goes to Chicago on a make or break deal and puts up. And so now they're both wanting to get paid. And, we're 100% on all of our predictions, but just in the slight chance that we didn't get these right, I just thought I was going to ask the guys again, hey, we're now the offseason's almost over. Other dominoes have fallen. Where do we think these guys are going? Just for a mulligan on our prediction. So, Joe, you had Blake Snell originally to the Cubs and Bellinger originally to the Giants. Now the Giants
Mhm.
have signed a lefty center fielder to a big contract, Lee, but the Cubs have not brought in a pitcher yet. Haven't done much after signing Craig Counsell. So Blake Snell, you sticking to your Cubs gun, or are we sending him someplace else?
I think it was on their 1987 New Jersey album. Bon Jovi had a song called Stick to Your Guns. Very kind of like B-side, short, cute acoustic song. Well, that being said, no, I'm not gonna stick to my guns. Which player are we
There it
talking
is.
about? Blake Snell?
Blake Snell,
There it is.
Cubs is off the table. Where's he going?
Man. So, I mean, I feel like we're almost down to taking a one year prove it deal, even though you just won the Cy
I
Young.
know, it's crazy.
It's like prove that you can keep your walks below 6 per 9. Um, but oh man, who would do that? I guess as John Bon Jovi would say, um,
Are you in Bon John? Bon
I don't
John?
know. I don't know. I was
Bon
trying to
John.
bring it back. I was trying to bring it back around.
John Bon Jovi. Are you guys close?
I mean, if he needs a touring partner, I'm
I've
decent.
never seen him in the same place.
Hmm.
Let's go ahead and stick to my guns. I'll have him signing a 1 year with the Cubs.
One
Both
year.
Centrals are winnable.
All right, so Bellinger, Giants, or
Yep, I'll stick with that too.
all right. There's still room out there. They've got some veterans in the corner spots and at first base, but Bellinger can fit there. All right, so Jared, you said Snell was going to stay in San Diego. And then you said Bellinger was going to go to the Yankees because the Yankees needed left-handed outfielders. Well, you were correct. The Yankees needed left-handed outfielders. They went and got every other left-handed outfielder that was available, not named Cody Bellinger.
Oops.
So, Blake Snell, Padres?
Nah, that ship has sailed. I think the Padres are trying to figure out what they're trying to be. I think they got too much money wrapped up in Tatis and Machado to really figure out anything else. And they signed all those players, and that little thing that they tried did not work. So I don't think Snell's coming back. But I'm gonna give you the deal, just like my buddy over there in Pittsfield did, Joe. He's gonna be signing with, because they called me today, the Mariners. It's gonna be a 7-year deal, 210
Dang.
mil. Because he
Okay.
declined the Yankees, it was 6-year, 150, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to get an extra year out of somebody, and I think 210 mil. And then the Mariners will flip some of those other pitchers that they got for some bats that they need.
Makes
Which
sense.
I know they just acquired was that one guy from the Twins? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, Jorge Polanco.
Blanco.
So
They
good deal
they
for
could
them on
still
that.
use another infielder though.
Yeah.
I think if he plays
Yep.
second or third, they could fit somebody else in there. They've got options, but so then you got Bellinger. You had the Yankees. I think they're out of room. So
Add a room on the depth chart. Let's just get that right. Never out of money. I just
that's
want
true.
that to
That's
be known.
yes.
So yeah, that ship has also left the port. I'm gonna go with a sleeper team here. I'm gonna go. I think he's gonna pair up with another left-handed bat in Philly. I think it's a
They
sleeper
got they
team.
got a lot of lefty bats out there.
hmm
That's
Um,
not a bad pick.
so I don't know. Also, the report
Okay,
I just read about Snell said he's absolutely nowhere close to signing anywhere. So I don't know what that means
nice.
for our picks, but um,
Blake, where are you going? All right, cool.
sweet,
Yeah,
nice.
he said he wasn't ready. So I had Blake Snell going to the Cardinals. I actually had the Cardinals signing 3 starting pitchers, I believe, and I was
They did.
correct, except for none of the guys I picked. But hey, Jordan Montgomery's still out there too. I didn't think about him. Another lefty
hmm
that we don't have on here. Snell, I could see him going someplace kind of like Correa did last year, where he got paid a bunch in 1 year with an opt out, and everybody just knew he was going to opt out to try again next year. Next year, you won't have Yamamoto and Shohei, um, Montgomery, Kershaw. So I think he's going to stay on the West Coast because it worked out for him. And he's going to pick a place that might be able to contend.
Is he signed
So
with the Dodgers too?
I think he's going to go to the Giants. I think
No.
a Giants on a similar deal to what the Yankees offered, shorter, bigger AAV, but with an opt out. And that's where I got Snell going. Now Bellinger, I had going to the Angels all along to replace Otani's left-handed bat and take over center so Trout can move to the corners. That still makes a whole lot of sense in my head on paper, but the Angels haven't done any big splashes like I thought they would to replace Otani. And they keep saying Art Moreno might actually be selling them and they're not going to be sold. And then I saw last week that, yeah, he's actually listening to offers. So who knows? At this point, I don't think he's going there. So I'm going to pivot back to Bellinger going back to the Cubs. I think at this point, the market didn't turn out as robust as he thought it was going to, is my guess. And so he go back to where he played well. He can go back to center for now, and Pete Crow Armstrong can take some time in AAA. So Bellinger, Cubs, Snell to the Giants are my picks.
So
Well,
that's sorry, go ahead.
I think we may be going to the same place, Jaylee. Go ahead, though.
Okay, we'll see if we are. That Snell pick, you think they're going to contend in that division for what, a wild card? Back end wild card, or what are you thinking? There ain't no way they're beating.
No, they're not the Dodger Diamondback realm, but they always seem to do better than they're supposed to. And the Rockies and Padres both aren't going to be big threats. Padres take a huge step back this year. They haven't replaced any of those pitchers that they've lost. And the Rockies are the Rockies.
They got one in the trade with the Soto King.
Yeah, a bunch of young guys, so they could dominate, but
I guess what I'm asking is, like, do you think Snell goes there because he thinks they can contend, or they're offering him a better deal than what the Yankees have offered?
I think they've got the money that they can offer a huge AAV up front with an opt out.
Got it.
And they probably would hope that they could trade him. But it's not the bottom of the barrel like if he went to a central team.
Were we on the same wavelength there?
No,
Joe?
no, we weren't. I think we're about to be, though. You said you were pivoting back to the Cubs because you thought he could go back there. Well, I'm gonna pivot back to something you said. You said
A double pivot? That's a travel.
Yeah.
Art, not if you're Aaron Van Streen. Art is listening to offers. So I mean, we got 3 people
Art?
plus Corey. What's his name?
Artie Moreno? Oh, Artie Moreno.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know who. Okay,
so I mean, the worst you can say is no. We can throw an offer in.
All right.
I'd say I got $250. That's decent.
All right.
Art.
Let's see. I
I'm
can match that.
I'm gonna decline.
Okay. That's more ownership for me and Aaron.
Sweet. 50-50. All right. I like this.
So wait, did you say you had Snell going to the Giants?
Yeah.
Okay. I've texted our Giants insider and I got the 3 dots, so he's saying something back. But
I'm trying to picture. I like the Mariners trade. I said that a while ago that hey, they could add a starter and trade from their depth to get pitcher. That makes sense to me. But I was trying to think of a large market team that hasn't spent a whole lot of money. Yankees have spent a lot of money. Red Sox aren't spending. Red Sox could be an option, but why would you choose to go to the AL East if you didn't have to? That's going to kill your stats.
Yeah, well, and I didn't say anything about Snell. I just said, "Hey, what info you got?" He said they have no pitching. They just traded away one of their starters to the A's and have 2 guys on the IR till the All-Star break. So, hey,
they got Webb and a rookie, and then who knows?
I hope Webb finds his way onto the Cardinals, but that probably won't happen.
Is he 37?
Not yet.
All right, so you got
Yeah,
time.
we gotta wait a few years. Got it.
All right, everybody's favorite segment. Do we have a stinger yet? Joe said he's gonna make a stinger for this like 7 months ago.
Hey, we're low tech over here.
I was hoping for just like an insane like
Pigeon
guitar
came
riff.
Katydids are out. Cicadas. Have you guys seen that story? It was supposed to be 42 million katydids in every yard.
in
I don't know if I'm
every
saying that.
yard.
Yeah. You haven't seen that?
That'd be like a pile of
there's
exoskeletons every morning.
there's something that happens once every 200 years or something.
Yeah, we
I don't
should
know.
try to get scientifical. Let's just stick to the baseball knowledge we got.
Well, speaking of being scientific, so we were trying to get some content because it's off season, it's late in the off season, not a lot of news. I think we just talked about some low impact news for about an hour. So thanks listeners for hanging in with us. Now's the time to really buckle in and get ready for this next segment of appreciate or reinstate. And this is where we look at some topics that used to be a part of the game and no longer are. And do we, through massive online and social media influence, try to get these things reinstated back into the game? Or do we appreciate the fact that baseball has a long, storied history and we leave it and appreciate it for what it was? So I think you guys might be excited. I do have a PowerPoint for
Oh yes.
for this.
So the
Yes,
rating
yes,
jump back
yes.
up.
So listeners,
There's that quick pod.
please please become viewers. I am going to share my screen and try to not give away too much of it on the share because our technical supreme knowledge is.
Yeah, I can close our eyes.
Yeah, close your all's eyes for a second. I don't
I'm
think
peeping.
Share screen here.
Nope. Let me know when I can open them.
Oh, not share. Oh,
That Bob the Builder.
be looking. All right. All right. What you guys got? What you got?
Can I open them?
Yeah, you can open them.
I'm more interested in what's
Mhm.
happening in the bottom right corner.
He's carving a chicken with an awl, I think is what's going on down there.
All right.
And a
Well,
steel glove.
here, I really don't know where this idea originated. Somewhere in my super weird mind. But so I'm going to give you a little bit of where the story started. So I work for a company. And you could say, let's just say it's in logistics. I mean, every listener knows where I work, but whatever. We deal, you could say we have a lot of semis on the road. We have a lot of warehouse space across the country. And one thing we always talk about, one thing that's the number one priority, and I very much believe we stand behind that, is safety.
Yeah, safety.
So if I say PPE, what does that mean to y'all? Jay Lee, you probably know.
Yep. Aaron, do you know it?
Personal protection, something.
Yeah, keep going. One more.
Yeah. The E's easy.
Look in the picture. What is all that?
I don't know. Entertainment.
Entertainment.
Personal protective entertainment. Yes.
Yes. Nailed it.
Personal
Equipment.
protective equipment. So on
This
your
just
screen,
sounds like Joe is a drug dealer. Let's just say I work in logistics. Let's just say I got trucks and warehouses. Let's just say I'm in the safety business.
Yeah, the HR is a cover up.
there's a lot of pharmaceuticals going in and out too. But anyway, for our viewers that can't quite see the screen, We have a pair of steel-toed shoes. We have a hard hat. We have some earplugs. We have a mesh glove so you don't cut your hands. And then I found this apron that like looks like it's made out of leather and that would protect you from cuts, burns, etc. So my idea here was the game
I think I know where it's going.
used to be a much manlier game.
Yep.
And as the country and the world has gotten soft, I'm wondering, do we need to
I knew it.
reinstate reinstate some of the manlier things in the game of baseball? Chief among them, all this PPE that players are wearing, have wore, more and more of it that is happening. So I just wanted to give a little recap of kind of where we've been, where we are, and then we'll get into the discussion of hey, do we need to reinstate how the game used to be played, where it was a little tougher, maybe had to be a little tougher to play the game. So anyway, next slide here. Viewers, follow along. Listeners, I'll walk you through it. Next slide here is this is taken off one of our sponsor sites. They were kind
Yeah.
enough. I reached out and they're like, "Oh yeah, anything for one of our best
Mhm.
pods." So I got this from justgloves.com. You can head there and mention us, get a big discount. But this is gloves through the years. First, I'll say the first games didn't use nothing. There wasn't no gloves. There wasn't no face mask. You used your bare hands. Now early on here, I'm gonna skip over to the next slide. It's a little bit of a timeline. So early on, the catcher stood up, stood way back, and would just catch the ball on the bounce. Now, once gloves started coming into play, that changed a little bit. Players would use the glove just to knock the ball down and then pick it up. If we go back here, you'll see that first glove is basically just a fingerless leather glove with no padding. So you just batted the ball down, picked it up. I like how I look through this list and some of the first gloves, Spalding, Mizuno,
Yeah, still around.
Lacona. I mean, that's still your big glove makers. Rawlings is in there. So that's kind of neat to see. These companies have been around for 120, 130, 150 years. Next slide is again just to just some pictures of gloves throughout the ages. And
Dude,
yeah,
how
look at some
heavy
of that
is that
stuff.
glove in 1905? How much do you think that thing weighs? Looks like it weighs like 50 pounds.
Does.
John Boy had shout out to our fellow Potter, John Boy. Hey John. He had a really cool clip where he just you know how he overdubs and he
Hmm.
overdubbed a really old clip and it's Babe Ruth like playing catch with somebody and when he gets done he literally just he like folds his glove up and just sticks it in his back pocket, disappears and walks away. So yeah, these things have changed a little bit over the years. Here's some catcher's mask. Again, initially they didn't wear any. You can see how they've changed over the years. And I feel like some of these, a ball is fitting through some of those gaps, like like
Yes.
by the eyes. But nowadays, you have the hockey style that pretty much everybody's using. Next one is a helmet of some batters and how that's come a little ways. The next
Just a
one
little bit.
is a picture of pretty much everybody is wearing ankle guards and elbow guards and shin guards. And I'm just wondering if we're babying these players too much. Do we need to, um, maybe retroact some stuff back to the 1850s to where, I'm sorry, you don't get a $900 glove to play. You're gonna use your own talent. You're gonna have it. There's gonna be a bat. There's gonna be a ball, and that's gonna be the extent of the equipment that we're using today. This next picture, um, and the date is correct. I think it's the artist rendering. Jay Lee, you have something?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say maybe this will give my answer away already, but I'm pretty sure if you've ever taken a foul ball off your leg or your ankle, you're gonna want one of these. And I bet you
Well,
if
we
Babe
haven't we
Ruth,
haven't we haven't
uh,
got to
uh,
the portion of
if
stating anything yet, but go
I'm
ahead.
not, I'm just stating if Babe Ruth had the option to take these, I bet that he would. Go ahead.
Well, he's not around to ask right now, but
Let me ask him,
Too
Babe.
soon.
so
He
here's
didn't,
an
he
artist
didn't
rendering
answer.
of the first organized game. It was played in 1846. You'll notice the catcher is standing. Nobody's wearing a glove. The pitcher's mound is about 13 feet away from home plate. I'm not sure why that's so close, but you know, I think there's a case to be made that this is the way baseball was intended to be played. Yes, Aaron?
My favorite part is, and this always cracks me up about golf. I want fans lining the foul lines like that. Premium seats, because you know a bunch of drunk dudes will pay to be standing that close to the field,
100%.
and just see what happens. Because I love when golf, like they tee off, and there's just this little tunnel. I'm like, ain't nobody
Yeah.
ever doing that when I'm teeing off. You'd be dead.
Yeah, listeners, the artist rendering of this first game, fans are just lining third base
But there's
right
people
off.
sitting in the stands. There are stands,
Yeah, there
and
are
people are sitting
stands.
there, but everybody's like in front
Yeah.
of the stands on
First
the field.
first and third base line are just yeah.
And the reason he's
But
that close is because that pitcher's probably throwing 25 miles an hour.
And Babe Ruth's hitting 70 homers, and we think he's the greatest player ever. Sorry, go ahead.
did Babe Ruth have antibiotics to fight his infections? No. Okay, who's tougher than Babe Ruth or Mike Trout? Okay.
Dude had lots of
So
alcohol in him.
the question I have for the guys here, shame Corey couldn't be on. I think he might be on my side. Um, and for our listeners and viewers, hey, do we um do we need to take away some of this equipment that these players are using for protection and to make the game easier and get back to maybe something like they played in 1846? But Jay Lee, we may have already got your prediction, but go ahead.
I'm gonna let Aaron go first.
I got to pull up your video again here. I got it minimized so I could see this brilliant presentation. Thank you, Joe, first off, for your hard work. And you're an excellent drawing. Your drawing skills have come a long way. That's a great rendering of 1846, man. Um, if I am paying somebody a half a billy to play baseball, I am sending them to the plate in a bubble. They are not getting hits. They are not having a chance of a foul ball. There's going to be a bubble with a bat sticking out. Good luck. You have to hit with that, but you're not getting hurt because you are my retirement. Um, Joe, there's one of my favorite times watching Joe get hit. And are you going to tell the story, Joe? If I steal your thunder, I'll stop.
No, is this bluffs?
Was it bluffs? It may have been. I don't remember. But
Go ahead.
Joe's tough. Joe learned how to play catcher at 23 years old and didn't use the chest protector. He used his forearms to stop everything. Of course, I throw 50 miles per hour, so it wasn't really hurting him. But yeah, so Joe is a little crazy. Yes, just like that. And doesn't use the equipment, never uses batting gloves. He's just a Neanderthal. Um, and so he was not afraid. He would take inside pitches, get hit all the time, didn't care. Seen him get hit by 80 over and over and over again. Bluffs is where Joe said it happened. I mean, this slow, swoopy doopy curveball that just was falling out of the sky because it was going 20 miles per hour. Joe just pulls a Zach Ferguson and just sticks the elbow out there and just waits for this thing, takes a nap, wakes up, the pitch isn't there yet. Finally, it hits Joe right on the point of the elbow, and I thought the dude was dead. He starts hopping around, making all kinds of faces. Just
Worst
got
pain
him
ever.
just right. And I thought we just lost Joe. That's it. The 20 mile per hour curveball caught him just right. So I can't imagine 100 mile per hour hitting your rib cage, hitting your knee, hitting your ankle. Man. So I'm okay with them playing it. It's crazy that we never used it to begin with. So I'm an appreciate, but let's keep the players safe.
Hmm.
Jay Lee.
Yeah, I think we kind of already got my answer for what I said earlier, but what I will say, Joe, and you've always been about this since I've known you, and so we talked baseball a lot. I do agree there's something different about a hitter who doesn't wear batting gloves. You just think that that guy's like more tough than anybody else on the team.
That's true.
But what I will say is I do feel like a lot of the people who don't wear batting gloves will still wear some sort of PPE, whether it be the elbow or the shin. So I think there's something about it. But also, if we're talking about getting rid of all the PPE, you're going to stop seeing some of the most dope equipment that's out there. I mean, you're not going to get Yachty's all-star game catcher's gear, his baby blue catcher's gear that we saw. I don't know. I think it's an opportunity for players to kind of have a little bit of style and showcase. I mean, Acuna's got all the cool Braves colors on his elbow um, guard and his shin guard and everything like that. So as much as I want to say appreciate, like I guess I'm not reinstate because it never left. So which one am I?
No, you would be appreciated. Leave it in the past.
Yeah, don't go back.
Okay.
It's like a
Yeah.
double negative this week.
Yeah. I'm not going back to where I'm potentially getting a foul ball just
To
like
the
that.
teeth.
But I don't know. In my teeth, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's
Well,
you know me. I'm all about the style and the fun and I guess you can say the swag. So I'm there for the equipment.
okay. Well, listeners, viewers, you'll have to let us know what you think as well. But I knew you all would say keep all this armor in the game. So the PowerPoint isn't over yet. We have
Okay, my
more.
bad.
No. I mean, if you guys had went the other way, I wasted half my PowerPoint. But so, I
Darn
mean,
it.
if we're gonna add armor into the game, um,
I'm about
here's
that.
here's an artist rendering of a guy at the plate in a full suit of armor with a shield. I mean, why not? We don't want him to get it. We don't want him to get hurt. I paid him money, so now he can't get hurt. And oh, we have to have a bunch of sponsorships drawn all over our equipment. So let's bring
Yo,
them up.
I'm just gonna go ahead
And
and ask. You just dropped 500 milli on a
yeah,
player.
you're playing whatever injury you sustain, you play the next day.
Amputation, get out there. You're pinch running.
Gets hit in the elbow, blows his elbow wide open out on the field. His arm's
Well,
Go
gone.
go to catcher.
Okay, noted. I'm
speaking
never
of
playing for Joe's baseball team.
speaking, and this may have to be a new league created because there's still more slides to come. Speaking of Garahusum injuries, so this is how you're batting. Well, this is how you have to get around the bases. It's going to be a full joust with the defense going from base to base.
Well, that does it, guys. That's another episode of Break Your Position.
We ain't done yet. So for our listeners, you will jump on a horse and go to first, as the other guy that is playing first has jumped on a horse and have to joust him for first base.
Somehow I'm intrigued.
This is something that the outfield defense would have to deal with from players. You know, the bleacher seats,
Is it a moat?
they got to have something to do. Nope. Straight
Oh
launching
my
arrows into the
goodness.
outfield.
Now,
So
are those players or those
yeah.
fans?
Which ones are those?
Those are the fans are in the top left, and they're
Okay.
that's a picture of the outfield there.
Because like San Fran kind of has that wall, so you could just
Yeah.
line all your fans up there and start.
Yeah. Crossbows, longbows, tar and feather, catapults.
Is that a special ticket you have to buy or
That's a great fan appreciation day for sure, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So
First 20,000 gets a longbow.
even on defense, you better be chainmailing it up. My next one is the umpire getting ready to call somebody out. So
you imagine
I wish
Joe
you would have
West in
put
that?
Joe West. Yeah, Joe West face on that. You missed an
oh
opportunity.
man, I missed it. And then because I hate the way extra innings happens now with a guy on second base,
Oh no.
extra innings is just both teams going at it in the middle of the field, and the last one to live wins.
This is amazing.
So, yeah, that might have went a little off the rails, and I would have to say I am not in favor of going back and playing with no gloves and no helmets and no face mask, and but I don't know. You listen, let us know what we think.
Well, there you
This is
go,
a full-scale
Rakers.
war.
Yeah, we just turned baseball into
I just-
kingdoms and conquests. That's great. Hey, well, thanks, Joe, for that.
As
I think
always,
your-
that's
I
a
think your
great
mic
segment.
died. Your voice was cutting out there, Joe, at the end. Is your headset
Yeah,
dead?
I think I just got it back. I don't know. It's
Okay.
super weird.
Joe's looking at us funny. You did a little glitch before you pointed. Hey, anyway, guys, as we close, a couple shout outs. Matt Sealock, Mr. Bud, is still commenting on our newest videos. Last week, if you guys, I know you all listened and watched, we were talking favorite video games. Bud says, my favorite MLB games are Bases Loaded, which was not, you picked RBI? Or no, you picked Bases Loaded.
Bases loaded.
Yeah, so he agrees Bases Loaded and MLB 2004 on PS2. He said he loved to do the creative player. So shout out to Bud. And then old Jerry Clements got
Yeah.
on there.
Yes, sir.
And wants to know who is Snot Aaron. Because,
We don't
Jerry's-
know who that guy was. We're still trying to figure
Jerry
that
thinks
out.
he's funny. Hey, shout out to Jerry. I saw him at church the other day. He's moving to my new hometown. So I get to see him more often. So can't wait, Jerry, for the softball season. We'll be playing this summer. Get your glove ready.
Such a beast.
Yeah, come out of retirement. All righty, guys. So next week we're going to kick off the spring with a spring preview episode as pitchers and catchers start rolling in.
Yeah.
We are planning our yearly trip to Oakland. We're going to go check out
Yeah.
O.co. And what is San Francisco's? PNC?
Yes.
Nope, that's Pittsburgh.
That's Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's San
It's got a
Francisco's?
It's got a giant baseball glove. I know that.
Yep, and a brick wall and the ocean.
We'll
We're going
figure it out
San
later.
Fran. Yeah. So we're going to do a West Coast trip, catch Oakland before they skedaddle out of town. And so that'll be later on this spring. Any final thoughts, guys? All righty.
I
Until
think it's
next
time.
time, don't forget to rake
Rake
your
Position.
position. Rake your position. Break it. Break your position. Nah.